Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.yolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link, and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions right after this class.
Hey there, kids. How are you doing? Welcome to today's class. Today is the fifth class of our general knowledge sessions that we've been having, and I am so excited to have you here. I hope you had a look at the submission video and it made sense to you on how to go ahead and make the submissions of all of the classes that you've been attending. And I hope you are going ahead and making the submissions for whatever courses or whatever classes you're going ahead and attending right now. Now, let's go ahead and talk about a couple of things before I introduce you to what today's class is all about, and before we start with the list of materials that we need for today, and we actually start working with whatever we're working with today. So, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is obviously about the certificate program that we have going on. The certificate program is a very simple program. It's a program wherein you will go ahead and get a certificate at the end of a particular course if you go ahead and attend all of the classes and make all of the submissions. Now, why is it that I keep repeating this as part of every class? Is because I want you to make sure to get that certificate, because in the future it'll work sort of like an identification or sort of like a proof for you to go ahead and provide to any teacher, any colleague, any friend, any parent, whoever is going to ask you tomorrow what you've learned and what you have not learned. So go ahead and make use of this opportunity that we're giving you, and just the few small points that you have to just keep in mind. Firstly, don't miss any of the classes, and secondly, just make all of your submissions. That's all you have to do. Just keep that in mind and keep moving forward. Now, apart from that, the next thing that I want to go ahead and discuss is about the feedback program that we have going on. The feedback program is a very, very simple program wherein I'll be going ahead and giving you personalized feedback for the work that you're doing if you get selected as part of the top 10. So, what is the process of that? Firstly, make your submissions. Secondly, if you get selected as part of the top 10, then you will get personalized feedback. Now, what is the reason that I'm giving you feedback, and what is the feedback that I can give you? Now, the feedback that I can give you could be positive and negative, not negative, positive or critical feedback, like I like to call it. Now, what is the reason behind this? Now, the positive feedback basically is sort of like an understanding of what you're good at and what you can continue doing. So now, if I do give you that feedback, what will happen is you can go ahead and use that and work on that and develop your skills on it. And if you go ahead and do that, what will happen is it'll sort of help you grow better or help develop those skills better. Now, what about the critical feedback that I was talking about? Critical feedback is sort of a feedback that, kind of helps you identify what are the few errors or mistakes that you're going ahead and making, and how you can go ahead and improve on it. If you go ahead and improve on those errors, what will happen is it'll make you a better artist, or any skill that I'm going ahead and teaching you, it'll make you better at it, which is very, very, very important. So make sure you go ahead and, do that little bit of going ahead and making your submissions. Make your submissions. If you get selected, then I will be going ahead and giving you that bit. Now let's talk about what we're going to be doing in today's class. Today's class is all about the human body. Now, like, the human body has so many parts in it, right? We, even in our face, we have so many parts. We have our cheeks, we have our mouth, we have our nose, eyes, everything. We have so many parts in our body. And since there are so many parts in our body, it becomes a whole ground of information and a whole ground of facts. So there are so many facts in relation to our human body that are very, very necessary. It's something that is there, and something that exists. So I want to go ahead and discuss that with you today. Like, as part of our general knowledge class, we normally go ahead and do something alongside of it. Now, in today's general knowledge class, I wanted to keep it simple, because we don't really draw a lot of parts of our human body. And so, since today we're going to go ahead and talk about the human body, we're going to go ahead and draw some simple parts of the human body. Now, for this class, I wanted to go ahead and keep it simple. I didn't want to go ahead and make it too complicated, because if it was too complicated, then you will have a hard time with your work later on. So all of the drawings that we're going to do today are all part of the human body, but they're going to be small nits and bits that we have all around, and they're going to be really, really simple, so as to not make this whole class really hard for you, and that you're distracted between the drawing, and you're distracted between the facts. I don't want you to get distracted between them both. I want them to be easy. Plus, I also want you to go ahead and draw all of these out, because in some way or the other they will come to use later on. So maybe if you're drawing a hand, some of you might still be struggling on how to go ahead and draw a hand, or an eye, a lip, whatever it is, nose, you might still be struggling on how to go ahead and draw that. So this class will sort of give you that little bit of an idea how to draw the individual ones, and you'll be able to do a good job with it. So firstly, let's get started with what are the materials we need for today's class. If you're new to this class, let me explain the little bit of the format that we follow for this class. The format that we follow for this class is very, very simple. That is, what we do is we go ahead and talk about a bunch of facts. That is, I go ahead and talk about all of the facts that I want to go ahead and talk about, while you go ahead and do an illustration, poster, doodle, whatever it is that I have picked out for that class, and we go ahead and do it. In today's class, what we're going to do, like I said, was parts of the body. So we're going to be doodling out parts of the body, while I'm going ahead and giving you facts along the side. So here, all of these drawings that we're going to be doing are not colored. So I want you to go ahead and do one more task for today. That is, I want you to go ahead and color all of them in the end, and you can go ahead and submit that as part of your submission. So go ahead and color that in as well. It's just something different from a little bit of all of our classes till now we've only been going ahead and doing sort of like drawings, and I want to go ahead and change it up a bit, give you a little bit of extra work for your submission. So go ahead and color it up as part of your submission. Now let's get started with what we need. The first thing that you need for today's class is going to be a sheet of a paper. So here you can see I have a plain sheet of a paper. You can go ahead and take a sketchbook, drawing book, journal book, whatever you have with you. You can go ahead and take an unrolled sheet of paper. You can take an A4 size sheet of paper, or any loose drawing sheet of paper would work. The next set of things that you need for today's class is going to be a bunch of sketch pens. So here you can see I have a bunch of simple and easy sketch pens here. So that's what we're going to be going ahead and using as part of today's class. So the next set of things that, okay, so that's the things that you need for today. Sorry, you won't be actually needing anything else for today's class. So let's go ahead and start drawing. Like I said, I want to keep it simple. So the first thing that we're going to be going ahead and drawing today is going to be a hand or a palm. So let's go ahead and draw that out. So I'm taking a blue color sketch pen right here. You can go ahead and take in whatever color sketch pen. And the first thing that you want to go ahead and do is draw a curve and draw it coming back. So sort of like a U-turn. So this is going to be the first finger, which is going to be our thumb. Now starting from the thumb, we're going to go ahead and do a bunch of lines coming up and down, and we're going to do 4 in total in order to create the fingers. So we're going to do it like you can see, up and down, and then stop, then again up and down, stop, then again up and down, stop, and up and down. Now here, make sure that you go ahead and do this like thinner. If you go ahead and do very fat fingers, what will happen is your hand will become very fat, then it won't look much like a hand, it will start looking like something else. So make sure you go ahead and do it, correctly, so as to it looking neat. Now, since you've gone ahead and finished up all of that, what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and do the curve of the palm. So this part of it, so just a curve, and then you can go ahead and draw 2 lines at the bottom to make it look like a hand. Now here you can go ahead and make it look like a hand. You can make it look like a palm. It could be anything particularly, anything that you want to go ahead and draw. So if you want to indicate anybody what a palm looks like, just go ahead and draw that, because this part is the palm. If you want to talk about fingers, then this is a finger and this is the wrist part of it. So whatever you want to go ahead and define it as, you can go ahead and define it. You've learned like the whole structure of the hand. Now, since we've discussed the whole structure of the hand, I want to go ahead and talk to you about the first, fact of today. Today, my facts are not going to be related to the drawing that we're doing today. I'm going to be doing random drawings of the human body, and we're going to be doing facts, about different things. The reason being that if I go ahead and start doing very, similar things, what will happen is it'll get a little hard for us to go ahead and do so. So let's keep it simple. So the first fact that I want to talk to you about is basically about saliva. So what is saliva? Like you all know, saliva is basically sort of the watery liquid that we have in our mouth whenever we're eating, talking, whatever. We have a lot of saliva in our mouth. But did you know how much saliva we sort of produce in a day? Does anybody have any guesses? No. Okay, so the amount of saliva that one produces in a day is approximately a liter. So we produce 1 liter of saliva a day. Now, saliva obviously helps with us swallowing our food. It helps us in mushing down our food when we eat, and it also keeps our mouths from drying down. So obviously, throughout the day, we do need a lot of saliva, and our saliva production is related to our hydration. So make sure you're drinking a lot of water so that your saliva is being produced, and you're producing approximately a liter of saliva a day. Now let's move on to the next bit of drawing that we're going to go ahead and do today. The next thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is an eye. I'm going to go ahead and take an orange sketch pen. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do a curve on top like this. So eyes are almost like an almond shape. So we're going to go ahead and do a curve on top and then a curve at the bottom. So this is going to be the basic shape of our eye. That's the shape of our eye most of the times. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do sort of like a U in the center of it. So you can see we're going to go ahead and do a U. There we go. Now finally what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do a circle in the center. Perfect. So there you go. We have a simple eye. Now, like what do we have our eyes for? We have the eyes for seeing. We visualize things with our eyes, and most of our eyes do have a white part and a black part. Now, I do not have any facts about the human eye necessarily, but I do have a fact about babies and something related to the eye. So let me go ahead and tell you. The fact that I have for you today is basically that babies actually don't start crying. So babies do cry, but they don't actually, shed tears. You know how when you cry, you have tears coming out of your eyes. So babies don't actually shed tears till the age of 1 month. So even though they're crying a lot of the time, and even though, they're making the noise and they feel like they're crying, there's never any water coming out of the baby's eyes till the 1 month old. So that is the next fact that I have for you today. Now let's move on to the third drawing that we have for you today. The third thing that we're going to be going ahead and drawing is going to be lips. So I'm taking a pink color sketch pen here. So the first step is going to be to go ahead and draw the sort of a mountain shape. So you can see I started at one point, did an up mountain, a down, up, and end. So that's going to be the first shape. Go ahead and do that. Perfect. The next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and draw a sleeping line like so. Perfect. So that's the top part of the lip done and the center part of the lip done. And the last part of the lip is going to be the bottom part. So we're going to go ahead and do a slanting line, sleeping line, and slanting line up. So slanting line from the side, sleeping line, and slanting line. So there you have the shape of a lip. Perfect. So now let's go ahead and talk about the next fact that I have for you today. Now, the next fact that I have for you today is about the skin. Now, if you know that we tend to shed a lot of skin, we can't really see how much skin we are going ahead and shedding, because it is falling off all around us. It's small bits of skin that is falling off either when you're having a bath, or probably when you're applying something, or you're rubbing your hands or something. There is a bit of skin falling off of you at some point of the day. And do you know how much skin falls off you during a whole year? Okay, so let me tell you, 4 kgs, like if you measure it in total, 4 kgs of skin is lost by each human body every year. Isn't that a lot of skin? So if you have a rice packet and you have 4 rice packets of 1 kg, that's how much skin you're losing per year. So think about how much that is. That's quite a bit, isn't it? All right. Now let's move on to the next drawing that we have right now. The next drawing that we have is the nose. So here I'm going ahead and doing sort of like an L, starting like this, curving out a bit and then coming back in. So that's the first part. The next part is going to be to go ahead and do a inner curve. So the inner curve is basically the nostril that I wanted to go ahead and draw. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the outer curve that we have right here, and then the inside line like so. So we have the curve L, then we had the nostril, then we had the outside curve and the joining part right here. So that is your nose. Now, I do actually have a fact about the nose and the ears, actually. It's sort of like a combined fact. So, let me go ahead and tell you that fact. Now, like the nose and the ears are like very vital parts of our body. The nose basically helps us smell, it helps us breathe, and all of that. And ears help us listen. Now, what is the fun fact that I have about it? The nose and the ears, both of them, never stop growing. So throughout our lifestyle, from the day we are, throughout our lifespan, from the day we are born till the day we die, our nose and ears keep growing. So they never stop growing. That's the fact that I have about our nose and ears. Now let's move on to the next drawing that we have today. The next drawing that I'm going to do is about a tooth. So first thing that I'm going ahead and doing is I'm taking a brown color sketch pen and drawing sort of like a curved V like this. So that's the first part of our drawing. The next thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to do a curve on the side and a curve on this side. So those are the next 2 steps that I have right here. Then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and draw the root part of the teeth. Now this is the top part of the teeth. If you've ever felt your teeth, you'll notice there's a gap in the center, but the teeth goes way into your gums. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and draw. I'm going to go ahead and do sort of like a curve coming out and curve going in, curve going out and curve going in. So there you go. So sort of like a curve going in and curve going in. So that is the part that is inside. If you've ever broken your tooth, you will see that inside part of your tooth that's there. It sits inside our gum. So that is the tooth part of it. So let me go ahead and give you a fact about the human teeth, because I do have a fact about the human teeth. The human teeth are actually very, very strong, and it is as strong as a sea animal. Now, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to go ahead and guess the sea animal. Guess it and keep it in your minds. And when I tell you, the animal, you can tell me if you guessed it right or not. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so the sea animal, that is, compared to the human body's human body's teeth, is a shark. So we have teeth as strong as a shark, which is pretty fascinating, isn't it? So we have teeth as strong as a shark. Now let's move on to the next drawing that we have. I'm going to go ahead and draw a bone, a human body bone right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do two sleeping or two standing lines, whichever way you're drawing your bone. If you're drawing it straight, then go ahead and do it like this. If you're drawing sleeping, go ahead and do it. I've done a slanting bone, so go ahead and draw two slanting lines. Whatever you prefer, go ahead and draw it in that manner. So I've done two slanting lines. And the next thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and do a curve, dip, and curve. So it's going to be very similar to what we did with our mouth, the curve, dip, and curve. But how we're going to do it is we're going to make those two ends join. So you can see curve, dip, and curve, and then same curve, down, and curve. So there we have the human bone. Now most bones look like this, whether it is the human body's bone, whether it's the animal's bone, whoever's bone it is, mostly looks like this. So I do have sort of like a fact about the human bones. So let me go ahead and give it to you. Now, the human bones or the human body, when we are babies, is born with 300 bones. So we have 300 bones in our body when we are born. But as we grow up and become adults, we tend to have only 206 bones. Now, what happens to those bones? Do those bones disappear from our body? Or do they fall out like teeth fall out? No, not necessarily. What happens basically is certain bones are separated from each other, but as we grow up they join together. So we have many, many bones all across our body that are two separate bones that will become one bone as we become an adult. So they'll grow together, and automatically instead of two bones we start having one bone. So that's how from 300 bones we start having 206 bones in total. Let's go ahead and draw the next thing, which is going to be the year. I've already given you a fact of the year, but that doesn't mean we can't go ahead and draw it. So here what I've gone ahead and done is I've gone ahead and done a curve like this, and the end part is this bottom part of the year. So curve and then the end part, that's the first thing that you have to go ahead and do. The next thing you have to go ahead and do is do a small curve like this. So this part, the inside part that you have, so just doing a simple curve like so at the bottom part. And then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a curve on top like so. So there we have our human ear done. Now, though I do not have a fact about the human ear, I do have a fact about blood. So let me go ahead and give you a fact about blood, because like blood runs in our veins and nerves and everything, and we have blood as an abundance in our body, and all of our oxygen moves around with the blood itself. So how much do you think, since we have so much blood and it's so important, how much blood do you think is the total weight of our body? Can you guess? Okay, the total weight of blood in our body is 8%. So 8% of our body is, body weight is made out of blood. Isn't that fascinating? So if we have to weigh someone, let's say, you're 50 kgs, 8% of that 850 kgs is basically your blood. Now let's move on to the next drawing that we have. The next drawing is going to be that of the tongue. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do one curve like so, and then we're going to do another set of curves like this with two lines. Now that's going to be the set of teeth. I don't want to get into the details of the teeth because it can be a little hard to go ahead and do. So we did one curve and then we did one set like so. Then we're going to go ahead and do a curve coming out, and that's going to be the major part of the tongue, and that's going to have a line in it so as to make it look like a tongue. So that's, the mouth with the tongue. And in order to complete the mouth, we'll do a curve in the back. And to make it look like the person is smiling, we'll do two curves like this, on the side and on the side. Now there we go, we have our mouth with our tongue outside. Now I don't really have a whole sort of fact for the tongue, but I do realize I do have a fact for the lungs. So let me go ahead and discuss the fact for the lungs that I have for you today. Now, the fact that I have for you is that every day, in a single day, this is what I'm talking about. In a single day, every human being breathes 11,000 liters of air. So basically, our lungs basically breathe 11,000 liters. Now 11,000 liters is a lot. Think about a liter of milk or a liter of water. We drink around 2 liters or 3 liters of water a day, and as compared to that, 11,000 liters of air every day goes into our lungs and we breathe it every day. So think about it, we live based on that air, and we have 11,000 liters going in and out of our body every single day. Now let's move on to the next drawing. I want to go ahead and draw a foot. So basically I'm going ahead and taking a light blue sketch pen and drawing two standing lines like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the back, and I'm going to go ahead and do a curve coming out like so. This looks almost like an L now, very similar to the nose that we have. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a slanting line between the two gaps that we have in order to make it look like a foot. And we're going to go ahead and do a small curve like so. And there we have a foot. Okay, so let's move on to one of the other facts that I have. Now, this is not really related to the leg, but it's related to muscles in general. Now, do you know where the word muscle comes from necessarily? Maybe not, right? Okay, so the word muscle comes from a Latin word which basically means little mouse. Now, that's pretty weird as to why you would name a muscle based on something called little mouse, right? Okay, so I will tell you why. So what happened was, in those days, whenever you had muscles like this, the bicep part of it looked like there was a small tiny mouse sitting in your hand. So what they did was, whatever the word was for little mouse, they went ahead and made use that as the name for each of the muscles we have. So muscle actually means, in Latin, means little mouse, and that's where it actually comes from. Isn't that amazing and fascinating? It really is. So now let's move on to the last drawing that we have for the day. The last drawing that we have is basically going to be a curve, and we're going to be drawing a fingernail. So here we go ahead and draw a fingernail and two lines in here and there in order to draw a finger with a nail. So if you go ahead and you want to draw a finger whenever and you want a nail, then this is how you go ahead and draw it. So very, very simple. And let's go ahead and talk about the last fact that we have for today. So now let's talk about the heart a bit. Now the heart beats 3 billion times totally. So it, throughout a lifespan, approximately from the day a person starts living, that is when their heart starts beating, and from till the day that they die, our hearts beat around 3 billion times. Now isn't that fascinating and amazing? Now our heart is something that gives us all of that oxygen and gives us all of that blood, and that's what keeps us alive. So it's a really, really fascinating that it beats you know 3 billion times a day. Isn't that like a huge, huge, huge number? Now, obviously, there are so many more facts that, are there of the human body in relation to cells, in relation to the brain, in relation to the skin, in relation to so many things. But we can't really go ahead and cover all of those facts in today's class. These are the number of facts that we can go ahead and discuss in today's class. So, I've been looking at all of your books, and all of you have done such a wonderful job drawing, all of the parts of the human body. So, excellent work, everybody. So before we end today's class, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the certificate program. The certificate program is a simple program wherein you just have to go ahead and attend all of the classes and make all of your submissions on time. If you go ahead and do that, you will get a certificate at the end of the course. Apart from that, one more thing is go ahead and make the submissions and get selected as part of the top 10, and you will get personalized feedback from me. I am so happy that you attended today's class and learned all about the human body. Your submission for today is going to be to submit this drawing that we have gone ahead and done of the different parts of the human body. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I would also like for you to go ahead and color those different parts out of the human body and then go ahead and submit it. You can go ahead and color it with the colored sketch pens that you have done. It's okay if it looks, a little different from our actual human body or whatever color of our human body is. It's completely all right. It can look different. If you want to go ahead and, use multiple colors, go ahead and do it. This is a fun illustration and doodle that I just wanted to go ahead and learn. So good job, everybody, on what you did today. I hope you had fun with all of the facts that I gave. Go ahead and share it with everybody, your friends, family, whoever you can go ahead and share it with. They will be very, very happy to know all of the facts that you're going to go ahead and give them. I will see you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye, and have a look at the submission video. Bye.
Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to